evening, my jellyfighters. My name is Jim, and this is your daily brogue for the 10th of May, 2026. Let me make sure that this is, yeah, it is. Okay, good. Okay, so what am I doing? I was talking about, I don't remember, it was yesterday. I was talking about writing, right? So I had been talking a little bit about AI art and trying to explain that for the most part, it is good. We'll fill in gaps first of problems. Maybe not problems, of things that people, right now don't illustrate. I gave one example of something I illustrated because somebody couldn't get AI art to do what it wanted, and an example of my art as well, so you could see how poor AI art must be if they needed me. Um, then I talked about Goodman Games leading in artifacts problems. Then I started talking about getting into writing these adventures, right? Um, so I've been writing adventures for a little while. I've probably done the surf works and things like that for a little bit. Did show you the surf works, did I not? Um, so probably showed some pictures of the surf works. That was an idea I got back in the D20 days. I didn't play much third edition. I played a little bit, but that was actually after I stopped playing, and then I met some people and played a few games, and that was good enough, but it wasn't playing with my old friends and stuff like that. So you have things you prefer to do. So let's do that. Let's find an example. Let's look at the surf work. And it came up right away. Okay, surf works must die. So some ideas about these surf works, and I probably showed you this. And now I've seen some problems. I mean, the main problem is I didn't put the shadow in for the orc on the thing, so that's a real error. I like how that looks though. So what I'm doing here is not writing direct adventures. I'm thinking about writing some, but I'm just writing a little bit about these orc islands. Um, I have a map for some of those villages. I don't know why it's out there. Adding some interesting people. So this is sort of like this guy's sort of like a god, but he's also sort of like not. So he's a little bit of a patron god sort of guy slash um, some maps. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking a bunch of these places and I'm detailing those in enough detail to show you things, and then I'm adding some, I have some random maps here for different possible islands and random details about those islands and conflicts and things like that. There's one particular island at the very beginning. This is I didn't. This is Big Rock Ugly Island with the Big Rock Ugly orcs, and they're basically pirates. Pirates in the old sense, where these, if they see a ship, they'll go off and raid it. So I need to put together a little dungeon in here. So I have some drawings, and they're not done. But over here, the Caves of Torment. Get the players up here, up to the old gods, or the other way around, right? But there's a big sort of caverny dungeon thing over here. Lizard totem, which you just saw, and a village where I have a village laid out. So I need to scan it and put it in here. So these are the sorts of things that I've been doing, making more of these things, talking about each one. Another one. Oh, this is nice because it has this guy here. Right in the middle of that atoll is this sort of coral megalodon, which has been used by the shark tribe of surf orcs, and so you have to keep them away. There's a shadow shark. I don't know what it was doing with shadow sharks, but a good idea, and so forth. So I've been doing that thing. This is the closest thing I've been able to draw to the picture that I drew 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 25 years ago. That gave me the idea for the Surfworks. And there's the Shark Clan. They look really mean, don't they look mean? So that's one thing. And there's my Shadow Shark. There's another Shadow Shark drawing. And you will see I like the whole shadow idea. So anyways, I've been writing things like that for the past few months, and I'd started off with just the surf works, but expand it a little bit, get more ideas, do some different things. Flail, not ready for a flail. Stole a flail. Nice to have a flail around if I have to commit to something, though. So I've been writing those things. And I've added more stuff as I as I go along. And so this is really something small. So as I've been reading some books. I get ideas and I just sort of put them together. Okay, so here I have this idea. Actually, this looks like I did this twice. Okay, so these are. Let me switch. So this Sundered Sea here, it's supposed to be more or less the same thing as the Inner Sea, as far as I understand. Right, I thought I had three see things, but this includes things on the shore around the thing. And then I have islands here. And just as I was reading books, I was just jotting down ideas, things on the interior. Um, and this is so Hive Island. Does it have the? It doesn't have the bad picture of the hive. So the hive is um, a the hive is a prison for mages, and the giant eye is the guardian. And there's a mage, there's a necromancer trying to escape, stuff like that. So just putting ideas together has been the idea there. It was more than I thought, because I thought I had a nice short. Let's see. This way it looks most likely to not. I can't handle right now a bunch of goblins. Right? What do I have? Strength. Okay, so the ogre itself is, there's the jackal way over there. So way over there. So the ogre itself is a tactical piece. You don't want the ogre knocking the jackal into the lava, because that will start a fire on the grass. We do have to go back up though. No, we don't want down. We want, okay. Let's do a scale wheel. And now I'm back up. Well, I guess I will share something else. I know, I know, no. Please don't. You don't have to share anything else. That's what you're saying, right? But I did put this together. So this is a inn that's a bridge, and I get this idea from both Orlando Furioso and the Fairy Queen. There are places where there's bridges that are guarded by somebody. And that's a good idea, right? And especially if you're in the mountains. So in the old days, um, the mountains are where like bandits and people lived. They weren't well organized by um, actual governments. So that So, what would happen is there would be a mine, but there'd be a fort around the mine, barricades. It depends on how dangerous it actually was. And then things would be transported to civilization from the hinterlands. And along the way, they might have a place where there's a bridge, and the bridge has to be guarded because it's also a good place for trolls and other people that need tolls. So I built this place up to be a sort of center in the middle of the wilderness and a good place for having different guys. Let's see, how many people do I have? So the innkeep is always there, so he's number 0, and then you roll a d8 several times. Um, I have the garrison commander who will be there. Maybe Badger Ironhand, maybe Becca the Brewmaster if she's there. There's Weir. Jared, who works for the innkeep, or well, Jared, who has a trading post upriver, and then also does jobs for the innkeep. And then I guess I have a bunch more things. So I've got each one of these, and each one of these guys in this particular list, these 9 guys, they each have the ability to help the characters in some way. And then, there are more people out in the village. Not so much a village, but I guess it's almost a village. A bunch of people outside. And then there's secrets in the inn. So, this is Badger Iron Hand, for example. He's got an iron hand because his hand was cut off by kobolds while he was in a dwarven keep, and somehow the iron hand got on him, and it's cursed and makes his life miserable. There's innkeep. There's me with my annoying stat blocks. He doesn't have anything. I'm going to have to give him prayers and things, but his skills are lying, sneaking, and small talk. This guy's muttering, cursing, and belly aching. Again, remember I was saying I just maybe that was while I was getting um, interrupted last night so much. Uh, when I make stat blocks up, I'm usually making fun of other people of stat blocks. So she needs a new. This is. This looks like at this point these are all. They are not all. This part here is all from the innkeep. Bierstein, the beerkeeper. Barstein, from the Young Frankenstein thing. Um, water to beer sobriety. No, so he's got spells like he's got read magic. And let's see what would go. What else does he have? He has stone to sprout, which turns a stone, turns a pile of stones basically into Brussels sprouts. And he has Bierstein's Woozy Bullets, which is basically magic missile, but with sticky little pebbles. And he's going to have more. But does he have stones to sprout? He doesn't. He should not have stones to sprout. I think he had something else. And there's Jared. And that's Farmer Willie and his dog. And they get the characters into trouble elsewhere. And so, just like the other ones, some adventures here. So here's a little adventure um, where the players are trying to get away from the mist. This is part 4 is Bierstein's place, which was where Bierstein's supposed to die. Here are some little chaos squirrels that will fight the characters. And that is that. And okay, Bierstein's Boozy Bullet. minor corruption. Beerstein's Boozy Bullet there, and the DCC table. So we have a DCC table. Summon bees. Okay. Beerstein can summon bees, and this is a more of a D&D or Shadow Dark table. And there's the Rock to Sprout. I did not make a Dungeon Crawl Classics version. Becca wants the stone to sprout spells. That's one of the things that players can do for her. Beerstein, maybe I should make, if Beerstein survives, or they don't do that thing, maybe I should have a thing for him. But we need summon bee swarm, summon bees, really. Okay, so let's get back. And let's see what am I doing. Okay, so I've just talked about some of those things. Maybe we'll get a chance to look at some other stuff. So, oh, I needed to check. Oh, detect magic, good. Hours. This tells me that is a bad axe. So we'll call the finger chopper. Drop M. Okay, whip are really good as long as they are um, whip Q and drop. Oh, shit. Still eels. Eels.